Hello and welcome back once again. Oh darn, I gotta find that password. It's in here somewhere. What is it? Page 56? Oh yeah, that's right. That password was just password. Why did I forget that? Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about self-hosting password management. As you add self-hosted applications, you're going to end up with more virtual machines and LXC, LXD containers, and all of them are going to have passwords. In my Apache Guacamole video, we learned how Guacamole can track the addresses, usernames, and passwords for the server instances. However, almost all self-hosted applications are web-based and have web instance usernames, passwords, and sometimes even two-factor authentication keys. How can those be managed? Well, with the use of a password manager. You've got authentication information for your bank, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, PayPal, and numerous other sites. Now add your self-hosted apps to this list, and I can guarantee that list is going to get to be huge. Most people either use the same username or password for most all of their sites, or they have a password notebook, one that looks kind of like this one here. Except it's a lot easier if you just set your passwords to things like password, because then you'll never forget them and you won't need the book. Password managers are a bit safer than that, though. Password managers like LastPass, NordPass, 1Password, McAfee TrueKey, and others are better alternatives because you can set complex passwords and safer passwords. However, you can self-host your own password manager. The password manager I like, and the one we're going to be talking about today, is Bitwarden. Bitwarden is a self-hosted password manager. Or you can always go out to Amazon and you can buy one of these nice password books that looks a little bit better than this book, and it says password book on the front. If you get one of these books, you don't want to lose it, so leave it on the desk where everybody can find it, right? A Bitwarden server is a place to store multiple users' passwords vaults. A vault is a collection of all the usernames and passwords and websites that that particular user has. A Bitwarden server can store multiple vaults for multiple users. Each password vault is protected by a master password that only the user of that vault knows. Bitwarden can remember usernames, passwords, website addresses, two-factor authentication keys, credit cards, and even private notes. So how does Bitwarden work? Well, Bitwarden has a web add-on that locally caches all passwords. It provides updates or tracks updates to your passwords that can be done when the Bitwarden server comes back up in the event that the Bitwarden server is down. So you don't have to worry if your server's down, you still have access to your passwords. Each user has the option to export a copy of their own personal vault to a file, and password vaults can be imported to one or more Bitwarden servers. In addition to that, you can actually import a password vault from one of the other commercial password managers into Bitwarden to get a good starting point. Only the server that you're logged into on Bitwarden is the one that will track the changes. And Bitwarden clients exist for all major web browsers as web add-ins. They exist for all major operating systems, Linux, Mac OS, Windows, and so on, as well as Android and iOS for mobile compatibility. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and install Docker. I have here a LXC instance of Ubuntu 2004. This could just as well be a virtual machine, or it could also be a bare metal server. So I'm going to start by installing Docker, And I've already got Docker installed on this machine, but there's the curl command to install Docker. I'll include it in the notes, in the show notes. Next thing I want to do is I want to do a sudo su, become super user. And the next thing I want to do after that is add a user for Bitwarden called Bitwarden. And then I want to add Bitwarden to the Docker group so that Bitwarden can do Docker commands unprivileged. And then I want to go ahead and create a Bitwarden directory for the Bitwarden user. And then I want to change the ownership of the directory that I just created to be owned by the Bitwarden user. And then I want to install Docker Compose. So I'll do a sudo apt install docker-compose. I guess if I was smart here, I would have not had to put the sudo command in because I did sudo from the front end, but no matter. Okay, next thing we want to do is a sudo apt install curl. Turns out curl is already on this particular system. Next thing I want to do is I want to sudo over to the, or su over to the Bitwarden account so I can become the Bitwarden user. You can see there I have Bitwarden at Bitwarden-test, which means I'm the Bitwarden user. Next thing I want to do is go get the Bitwarden install script with a wget. The next thing I want to do is change the script that I just downloaded to have execute privilege. And finally, I want to go off and execute the script. So we do an ls, there's the script. So to install Bitwarden, I want to do a ./bitwarden.sh space install. It will come up and ask me for the domain name for my Bitwarden instance, and I'm going to call it passwords.scotti-BYTE.com. So it's important to have made this entry in your DNS service provider first off, so that you have a password up there. I mean, you have a domain name up there. So mine's passwords.scotti-BYTE.com. Yours will be different. You want to know if I want a free SSL certificate from Let's Encrypt. The answer is yes. Enter your email address. So I'm going to enter vmsman@scotti-BYTE.com. And it's going off and pulling down the Docker instance and doing the installation. They want to know the database name for the instance, so I'll just call it Vault, which is their suggestion. You can call your database instance anything you want. It's pulling down a second Docker instance for the database. And now it wants to know what the installation ID is, and that's where we have to go out to bitwarden.com/host. So here's the website, bitwarden.com/host. I'm going to go ahead and enter vmsman@scotti-BYTE.com, which is what I did. I did a submit. And then they give you an installation ID and an installation key. So if we go down here to the installation, they will be asking me for my installation ID to begin with. This is going to be unique for every installation of Bitwarden that you do. So I'm going to drop my installation key in here. And then it's going to ask me for an installation key. And I paste the installation key in here. Now it's going to go out and generate an encryption key. And it's done. Now in order to start the completed Bitwarden server, we want to put in /bitwarden.sh start, just like they say. And it's going to start the containers that have been configured. It'll go look for a refresh as it begins. Okay, now that the product is completely installed, you'll notice a note at the end of this. In order to upgrade to newer versions of Bitwarden, you can always perform a .bitwarden.sh update self. In other words, you go ahead and run this update script and it'll update the newest version. And then after that, you do a ./bitwarden.sh update. So those two commands. Anyway, we're not quite done being configured. The other thing that we want to do is we want to go edit this file. It's called the override file. And you want to go down here and you want to set a few values. So the values that are important to set are the one for the mail SMTP host, the mail SMTP port, the mail SMTP SSL, if you're going to be SSL, the username, and the password. Okay, so those are basically the 4 things or the 5 things that you want to set. And once you've set those, then you want to go off and save your file. I've got some previous videos that talk about how to set up mail for self-hosted applications. Now that we've made the changes to the environment file, we're going to need to restart the Bitwarden server, and we're going to do that with a Bitwarden, running the Bitwarden script with the restart switch. So here's the restart switch, and once again, it's going to go out and repeat, bringing the containers back up, making sure everything is fine. So now I can go ahead and log off of my Bitwarden account. I can log off of my root account that I logged in with, and I can log off of my Bitwarden test server. Okay, now I went to passwords.scotti-BYTE.com. You can see the main page for Bitwarden. We're going to be going off and saying create an account. And once we create an account, we'll have the email address, your name, master password. They'll have you retype the master password and a hint. You have to remember that master password because basically there's no way to get it back. Anyway, that's basically it to creating an account and getting started with it. So in summary, you can do a lot more with Bitwarden than what I've done here, obviously. Bitwarden's a great open source password manager. Bitwarden tracks credentials for websites, including usernames, passwords, and even 2-factor authentication keys. So you wouldn't have to use something like Google Authenticator. Bitwarden can also store credit card and passport information. And Bitwarden can be exported and imported for backup. Anyway, that's all for today. And if you like what you see, please subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time.